Welcome to another episode of Stories from a Bar. I'm your host, Chris Osborne, and for this episode, I'm hanging out at the brand new Albany War Room Tavern and Cigar Lounge right here in Albany on Eagle Street, and I am joined by owner Todd Shapiro and Tony, the manager of this facility. How are you guys?
We're doing amazing.
Very well. Thank you for coming.
Awesome. Again, apologies. I only had two mics on me, but like I said, this is a pretty sweet, quiet setup over here in the Cigar Lounge. I like this. This is really nice.
You know what? It's paradise. People come here, they relax, they have a cigar, they go next door, they drink. Sometimes what Tony does, he puts salt on the cigars so people drink more.
That's a brilliant idea.
I wish we could, but we don't. So
that's kind of something I think would be funny to try on someone now.
Yes, the Cigar Lounge is a really good vibe. So I'm from the Albany Capital Region area, pretty much born and raised. So this is something new, very, very different. And the last few months that I've been in here and involved, I've ran into so many people in this lounge alone, and you hear nothing but great things from the atmosphere, the ambiance, the privacy, the whole nine. We have crazy selections of cigars, sound system in every floor. You can control your own music through your phone, through the app.
Oh, really?
Every member or customer, you download the Sonos app, and you can control whatever station you would like, during that time that you're here. So that's one of the great things they love about that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just talking to Todd when he was showing me around when we came in. There's not really a place like this anywhere in the Albany area, or at least no cigar lounges I'm aware of. So
there is a few cigar lounges that people go to, and to be honest, they are also members of those lounges, but once they see our lounge, they start spending more time out over here at Todd's back room.
Awesome. So you know what the difference is? This is a lounge, not a cigar shop. Mm-hmm. You can't come here and buy a lighter. You can't come here and buy some ashtray or something like that. We're trying to just create an atmosphere of where it's an upscale. It's not a place for everyone. I mean, our prices, are not cheap, but you're getting, you'll be also getting an atmosphere where you could just lounge. You'll come in during the NCAA championship. We had the UConn here the whole time. UConn came here.
Really?
In fact, Bill Murray's brother was here. We didn't even know it. We had no idea. We saw it with pictures afterwards.
Yeah.
And we found that UConn and Indiana, both made this place their home. They actually took their stuff from the hotel, unpacked it, made this their offices where they were smoking cigars and having the best. Matter of fact, Tony takes credit for them winning because they did it here. Their whole
pretty bold.
Well, maybe not, but their whole thing, their whole atmosphere of making this place that kind of relaxation kind of thing, that they were blown away. It's what's nice is you come in here and you look. It doesn't look like a Cohiba wrapper. It doesn't look. It's like it's a midnight blue with chandeliers, and there's mahogany lockers and plush chairs, that leather chairs that
which are super comfortable, by the way. I sunk right into this one, and it's already been great.
I know people, whatever, and if they break, we got another one to put on. No, I'm just kidding. It's fun. What's good? One of the reasons I brought Tony to be part of this interview is, we're two bar guys that started out. At least I'm a bar guy that started out. Mm-hmm. When I was 17 years old and drinking age was a lot lower, it wasn't 17, it was 18 at the time. I started as a bar boy. I worked my way up to being a bar back and to a bartender. And I love the stories from a bar. So I started in a bar. I started right out of high school when I graduated. I worked myself through college, being a bartender. I worked for 10 years, from 17 to 27. I bartended.
Oh, wow.
I worked some of the hot. Have you ever seen the movie Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah.
I used to bartend in 2001 where, I was flipping bottles like Tom Cruise, although I never looked like him, but I was flipping bottles like him in Cocktail.
Actually, I just watched that movie not long ago.
It's a great movie. Wait, Tony has the original neon from Cocktails and Dreams Next Door.
Does he really?
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't see it.
Oh, I have to show me after.
Yeah, I would definitely show you.
Yeah, I missed that.
It's awesome. It's great. A lot of people take pictures right next to it.
Awesome.
As a backdrop.
Awesome. like I was saying, normally I have a general rule not to deep dive into politics, but I feel like we're going to touch on that just a little bit today. But I don't know much about you guys other than what I've seen in the fantastic articles I've read already. Todd, I know you are a PR guy. You have your own firm down in Manhattan, right?
I do, but you know what? The truth is, see, I tried to get a job at Hooters as a server, and I didn't qualify.
Of course.
So I figured, you know what? If they're not going to, you might as well start your own bar.
That's a logical order of events.
Well, if you
I've
look,
ever heard
I'm just obviously I'm joking, but you know what is? I came here with a mission. I was here during COVID. I was hanging out at the across the street at the Renaissance Hotel.
Yep.
And you know, I looked at. I remember used to always going to this place. It was an Irish gin mill. It was the Public House 42, and everyone used to love the place, the dingy looking bar with the police patches and the sawdust coming up, and the bar was wood. Your hands would stick on it for about a day. I don't know if they ever cleaned it or not, but it was.
Sounds right. Usually having to go home, wash my hands again.
It was. It got the worst review that they could ever get for food. I don't know why, but the food was atrocious. At least that's what I heard. I mean, I liked it. I liked the chicken wings. They were great. But you know what? I love the look of it. I love these two 1890 buildings. I said, listen, in Albany, I could afford two 1890 buildings, two brownstones.
Yep.
In New York City, I'd have to be Donald Trump and not get indicted to be able to buy, these kind of buildings.
A lack of indictment probably helps, yes.
Well, listen, it definitely brings the price up.
Oh, yeah.
Or popularity up, at least, right?
But you just mentioned 1890. It's funny because I've been to Public House when it was here a handful of times, but it's never, and I'm walking through these buildings now, it's never dawned on me how old these buildings actually are.
It's 1890. In fact, this history here of Albany is really incredible.
It is.
Abraham Lincoln, when Governor Morgan during the 1860s was the governor of New York, he had Abe Lincoln come here and have lunch with him right across the street. So we've had so much history and different people that have. If you go a little halfway down the block, you see where former governors that became presidents used to live.
Yep.
You walk into the chambers, you see the $1 million staircase. Today it's probably a $1 billion staircase.
Oh, yeah.
So the history here and the bar, we try to preserve the history as much as we can. So that's why we made this into what it is today. So I took the building. I love many things. I love politics. I love cigars. I love sushi. I love my wife. But
not all necessarily in that order. I'm gonna.
Well, not always all the time either. But at least the sushi. But the fact of the matter is, it's something that I really wanted to create here because we wanted to take buildings and turn them into like almost like a political museum. Mm-hmm. When you walk into the War Room, you see pictures of Teddy Roosevelt. You see the bull moose. This bull moose head popping right out of you.
Dude, it jumps right out at you when you walk into that room, and it was huge.
It's a 2,000-pound moose head. That bull moose was a symbol of the Bull Moose Party, which Roosevelt ran under when he ran for president in 1907. So it has a lot of history. You see Bella Abzug's hat. You see pictures of Malcolm X when he spoke at the legislature, which is only 100 feet away.
Yep.
And then what happened was, he died. He got shot 2 weeks later. He came in to warn about dangers of going on, and so I mean the history of what we did to this place and what I did, and Tony helped me put together, and my staff. We have probably some of the greatest people in the world working here. Our bartenders, they're almost like local celebrities. Our wait staff, our chef Sasso is like, when Bruce Springsteen canceled, people were more happy that Sasso didn't cancel because Sasso's become this like Japanese icon of sushi up in Albany.
I mean, I just met him briefly when you were showing me around. He was cracking me up right away.
He's amazing. His food and what he does and how he cooks. Not cooks, you can't cook sushi, but the way he creates this sushi, it's an art. And having him here turn this place into like a culinary masterpiece. It's a 5-star, black linen restaurant where you people crave the sushi here because you know what? If you eat steak every day of your life, you're gonna get fat and die. You eat sushi every day, you're gonna live a long life.
Yeah.
So we have steak too. If you want to eat steak and die, we have it all.
Indeed.
But let Tony tell you a little more about it.
Tony, how'd you get involved with the War Room and the Cigar Lounge?
I was just looking around, and I just heard through the grapevine that Todd needed some management help of getting the place up and going. So he did all the work. He actually did a fantastic job on the remodel. The before and after pictures is just wow. You would never think. And a lot of people doubted him too, that, hey, there's no way you can turn this place around from what it was and make it look to what it is. Like where we're sitting right now, this place, this was, I believe, a shelter or something like that.
I was going to say, what kind of condition were these buildings in when you got them?
I wasn't there at that part, so I came whenever it was already open.
Let me put it this way. When I came into this place, I did a lot of work during 9/11. I represent the police unions and the fire department in New York City. So, and I'm 50 years old, so I could tell you a little. I was there 9/11 the next day. Mm-hmm. The smell of 9/11 was better than the smell in this room.
Really?
It was so bad. It was a shell. It was I guess a rehab center, which was a shelter where people were living. Homeless people came in here. And Father Young was probably one of the greatest humanitarians of Albany. He used to give everyone a chance and take people off the streets and get them out of drugs and get them out of alcohol and abuse. And he really changed people's lives. But he brought him here and then he died and the building just had its day. There was 16 people living on every floor and in these little cramped out, whatever. The place hadn't been remodeled or renovated in probably 100 years. So it was really, really bad. It was a horrible place to live. I remember walking in here looking at the place and a prostitute jumped out of the window. Whoa. Onto the fire escape when I came in, and then
really?
A pit bull bit the realtor. It was anybody else would run for the fucking hills. Me, I said this is home. And
I'm sorry, Todd. Like coming to America when he comes to Queens, Eddie Murphy, and he's like, "This is home. This is perfect." That was Todd right there.
You know what? I came here. I said, "This place. I got to buy this place. This is like the fun." By the way, I backed out the first time, and I got my money back. And I said, when I got the other place next door, I said, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to either it's going to be a successful place, or I'm going to be broke."
Mm-hmm.
Because I took every dollar I had to put into these two places to really create something that I thought would be something Albany never seen before. Not that you haven't seen, but they haven't seen it since when I was young and I was in my 20s, or when I graduated college, or when I was in college. I used to come up to Albany. There was a bar called the Lamppost.
Oh, I remember this.
And there's a lot of Jewish girls, right? And I'm Jewish, I can say that, So they used to call it the Jap Post because they were like Jewish American princesses, right? They would call it the Jap Post. You'd always meet a Jewish woman princess here trying to get married,
mm-hmm.
and she'd be at the Jap Post. They used to call it the Jap Post instead of the Lamppost.
The Lamppost.
And
wow,
they used to go there. Then there was a bar downstairs in the Hilton. It was a Hilton back then. Then it switched over to two other names. Now it's a Hilton again. And they used to have a thing called cahoots. It used to be $10 drink free all night. Now, I remember we all had fake ID at the time. And one guy, this really stupid friend of mine, right? He shows the fake ID and gets caught, right? Now, most people would just say, okay, thank you, I'm leaving. The bouncer said, hold on, I'm getting a police officer.
Ooh. Now,
the guy's standing there. And I looked at him and said, schmuck, let's get the hell out of here. Are you kidding? You can't stand there. The guy's going to arrest you. Go, run, Forrest, run. So, but it was a hot atmosphere. The Grinch was right next door, which was an iconic, bar, tavern, club. This place was hot. You used to walk down Lock Street or walk down Pearl Street. Albany was on fire. there was a zest of nightclubbing. That was before people went on the internet to meet and stuff like that. And maybe it was a little better because at least you knew what you were looking at before you saw it. Not that I would know, but who the hell knows? But it was just a different lifestyle. People love going out. People used to dress up. They wear nightclub clothes, or they'd be wearing bar clothes. I remember going up to Rensselaer. Is it Rensselaer? Where's RPI? Rensselaer.
Yeah.
And there were these ladies at RPI, right? There was a bar called Rockwell's because there was a song called, by Rockwell, who was a biggest Prince in his time. And it was like a nightclub, dancing and disco lights and everything like it is today. It was just the coolest place ever. So I said, you know what? I'm going to create a place where people older, not in college, because I'm not looking to create a college place, but people 30 years and over could have a place to hang out.
Yeah.
People like Tony's age could go out there and have a good time. You know what I mean?
I do now that I'm pushing 40.
Well, you know what the average age of Albany is?
Is it mid to late 20s? Probably.
It's
mid-20s?
32 years old.
Is it 32?
30. The average, because when people graduate from Albany or RPI or
St.
Rose or Siena,
I did get academically terminated from SUNY Albany.
That's all right. I got
and then I graduated from St. Rose with honors. So it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Well, thank God. Let me tell you, this guy is a rock star. Your podcasts are becoming you're the Jimmy Fallon of podcasts in Albany. People talk about your podcasts.
It's good to know. Ironically, he also went to St. Rose.
He did, and I know him from the Hamptons.
Oh, really?
Yep. In fact, we had lunch last week with his manager, who started him, I guess, over here in Albany, and brought him over to the city. He also lived in Brooklyn for a long time, too.
Yeah, we had when I was at St. Rose, we had the same advisor, so I would talk to. She would tell me stories or the class stories about him.
Picture of him and Fallon and Todd.
Oh, nice.
See, if you come to Albany, right, you look down the streets, we're creating something different. Downtown is hot. Downtown Albany is a hot place. Most people don't think that. But 3,000 new people moved in last year into the old buildings that used to be commercial buildings.
There's apartments going up all over the place.
They're creating they're trying to turn it into a Brooklyn. Like a Williamsburg kind of hipster kind of place. Mm-hmm. We see that at our bar, and people say, "Are you kidding? If you open up here, all you're gonna have is politicians, lobbyists, and you're gonna die on weekends." And that's not happening with us.
How has the response been from the non-political?
We're getting a crowd of young people that are coming here, loving it. We have a Thursday night singles night. We're getting people that live here. You find Albany's a lot of place that people don't know each other, and they're trying to meet friends. And this place is becoming a place where people are meeting new people. They're making friends because it's a city. Any city, people come in from all over the place, and they make friends. Our place is becoming that meeting place. It's the only place, too, where Republicans, Democrats, socialists, and conservatives, and journalists all hang out at the same time. Don't kick the shit out of each other.
It's impressive with alcohol around.
Well, it changes. It changes a lot. So instead of a war room, it's they're not making war. I'm gonna say they're making love because that's kind of the wrong place. But it's becoming a fun place for everybody, and they're finding a new kind of place to hang out and a new way where they could break bread or they could drink a beer and become friends after arguing with each other about politics or the budget or stuff like that. I mean,
that's interesting because politics is pretty divisive and seems like it just gets worse every few years. Was that ever a concern when you thought you wanted to open a political themed tavern? Like any fights breaking out or people not getting along or anything like that?
Well, listen, you know what? The only people that are gonna fight. I mean, when you get politicians fighting, they're not gonna, they'll be long-winded. They're not gonna take a baseball bat and bash somebody over the head and kick the shit out of somebody. It's just not gonna happen. But they get into long debates. They argue with stuff. But more important, you should see them doing karaoke. You've never seen Republicans and Democrats sing together.
No.
And I thought it was the biggest joke when we brought karaoke. It got so popular that we brought it back on Friday. That it becomes the local. First we have the political karaoke, then we have the local karaoke. And believe it or not, young people, 32 years old, are coming, hanging out, singing from the neighborhood, and they're becoming like it's becoming popular. Then we have political trivia on Monday nights, which people they compete for prizes, and they have teams that come in here. They're like, it's amazing. We have this one guy who he writes for the New York Post, the other one writes for the New York Times, and they challenge everybody every week. They challenge people for political karaoke and political trivia, and they win. I mean, who the hell knows this shit? I don't know this stuff.
There's just memorabilia all over the place, all super cool art and pictures and items and stuff like that. Is this stuff you've collected over the years? I know some things have been donated from what I read.
We've had 3 governors, Pataki, Patterson,
yep,
and Governor Carey's family, Hugh Carey's family, that have all donated different things. We've also had stuff come from people that used to work for Governor Cuomo, that have donated stuff. We're getting a lot of people that just they love the theme so much that they give their memorabilia. I mean, I think they're just cleaning their garage and need to get rid of this stuff, but that's another thing. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. We got some stuff in here that's probably really valuable too. That people have come here, and the governor has been here. Governor Hogle,
Yep.
She's been here. Mayor Adams has been here 5 or 6 times already.
Oh, wow.
He loves this place. The controller DiNapoli comes here. We even have a sandwich named after him. We have a chicken parm DiNapoli that he comes, and he's become a popular. The Attorney General, Tish James, we have a vanilla chai that she drinks that we have, Tish chai.
Oh.
You won't get indicted if you drink it.
Tony, have you always been into politics? I know it seems like Todd has.
So this was all new to me. The politics was all new news. But I'm just fascinated. Just like when customers come in with they have dinner reservations, but before they even take a seat, they take a tour of the whole restaurant, all 3 floors, and just check out all the work that Todd had displayed on the walls, and they're just so wowed by it. From the bar to the dining room, and then the 3rd floor. I don't know if you went next door. It's the private event room.
Yeah.
And they before they even have a seat, they take a tour of all around, just like Todd said, like a museum. It's pretty crafty, and it amazed me, and it just gave me a lot of like knowledge that I really didn't have no clue at. Wow, this person was in our state, in our city, representing our city at one point, and he's right on the wall. So I like it. I enjoyed it.
It's interesting, and I mean, I've never been super into politics, but I love seeing stuff like this and learning about things.
Yeah.
Albany's, of course, rich with history. Discover Albany does a great job with walking tours and taking people around and touring, and Maeve over there talking about stuff. One of the things I like to do when I go down to the city is always stop at McSorley's, because those walls are just plastered, and I've gotten in an hour-long conversation with the bartender there.
No, I have not.
McSorley's used to be all men.
Yep.
And it was
up until like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, it was like whatever. And more, I think there was a newspaper that was started in McSorley's many years ago. It was a very popular conservative newspaper. There was a bunch of guys sitting there, bullshitting, hanging out, having a beer. They have great beers. The urinals are famous too.
I know. That's one of the first things I heard about.
The urinals are famous. It's like a dingy place, but it's the coolest place ever. It's the kind of place you just.
Is it the oldest Irish pub in the city?
It is, and it purely becomes like how do I describe it? It's a part of New York City that's gone. Mm-hmm. That you walk in there and it brings back memories and stuff like that. The one thing we try to do here was there's a very famous tavern in New York City called the Waverly Inn.
Okay.
The Waverly Inn, I remember when I was younger, trying to get in there was very hard to get in. Now years ago, I was like, you had to like send an email and see if you were chosen, and you couldn't call. There was no open table back then.
Really?
So it was like you would send an email to some fake name they made up. And the guy would like send you an email back. I'd be like, hey, how are you? The guy never existed. But it was the hottest place. I saw Harrison Ford there. I've seen Ted Danson there. I've seen like the biggest celebrities, but it was like walking into an Edgar Allan Poe kind of building, really cool and gory.
Interesting.
But the food was like they had you guys said this is 20-something years ago. They had a truffle mac and cheese that went for $100 and something.
Sounds about right.
But it had the special truffle on it. In fact, we should do that. You know what? That's not a bad idea, Tony. You know, we should have $100 mac and cheese made with a special truffle. You know what? That's an easy thing to do. But they're you know what? That is a good thing. We're gonna do a Waverly Inn $100 truffle. Probably only sell one, but you know.
You're welcome. I planted that seed.
You know what? You gotta try something cool. If you look at our menu is the coolest menu ever because nobody did what we did. I mean,
how tough was it coming up with the menu for this place? Because it is pretty unique, and you have certainly specialty named dishes.
I went up to Sasso, and I said to Sasso, I'm like, I met Sasso for the first time, and he's very traditional. But he's not this Japanese guy that just came over 2 years ago. He's been living here 30 years. His kids are living here, 30. I mean, he's probably living here 40 years. Mm-hmm. He's been here a long time. He came here, I think, as in college or high school or something like that. He came over. But he was a sushi chef before. He's more American than I am. So, I mean, except he got a cool Japanese name, and I love him like a brother. He's like a brother to me, and he's just amazing. But he has traditional values when it comes to sushi because he takes that stuff really seriously. Mm-hmm. And he's a fun guy, too, when you get to know him. But so I went up to him. I said, Sasso, I want to do something different. I want to have like corned beef and corned beef sandwiches. Mm-hmm. He goes, not in the dining room. I go, Sasso, what are you talking about? It's my restaurant. No, traditional Japanese restaurant has sushi. I go, can I put it downstairs in the bar? And eventually I creeped up higher and higher and higher. And I hired another chef to do the other stuff because he wasn't going to cook anything that wasn't sushi. Next thing I know, I got 4 chefs and I'm bankrupt. But the fact of the matter is, it's a great concept because you could have corned beef and have sushi in the same menu. Mm-hmm. Where there's no place like that around here. It's usually one or the other. And you could have you want to have a cheeseburger and have a beer, and you want to have and you bring your girlfriend or your wife, or you bring both of them together. Who knows? Maybe they'll like each other. Who knows? But if you put the sushi with other things, you're creating something that people really like.
Is it hard to have that kind of variety and quality?
You know what? We spend a lot of money on the food that we have, and I think that's why we make a lot of money, but it costs us more than we're making because we're trying to create something different. Mm-hmm. We're trying to create a cool vibe where we want to be open to everybody when it comes to the kind of food there is. Someone wants to get a cheeseburger at the bar. They don't want to get dressed up. They don't want to go for fine dining. They just want to sit there, have a few shots, hang out, drink a few drafts, and then have sushi and have a burger. It's kind of cool. So we're creating that kind of like vibe. But you want to go upstairs, you're dressed up. It's a place you take a date, you take your wife to, or you take a colleague. You'll see the governor there, you'll see a senator there, or you'll see an assemblyman there, or you'll see a lobbyist, or you'll see, people coming just to crave sushi. We're creating all those different kind of things that nobody really does. You can't go to a Japanese restaurant and order a corned beef sandwich. I don't care where you are. You just can't do that.
I'd be surprised, yeah.
Yeah, or a burger, or have a linen. You won't find a 5-star sushi restaurant. Our sushi comes from the Fulton Fish Market twice a week.
Oh, wow.
It's the freshest fish. Now, you might go somewhere and they might have fish coming from the Hudson River, which I'd be scared to eat. But that's another thing. Who knows where it comes from?
Do you guys have a favorite dish since we're still talking about
Tony's going to tell you his favorite dishes. I talk too much.
Tony.
I actually like that new item we just added after the Napoli, the chicken parm. It's great.
Chicken parm's always one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
And you're here pretty much day to day. Well, Todd, you're only in town usually like one day a week, right?
Yeah. He's here a couple of days a week. Whenever, he's a busy guy, so he does his whole PR thing also. So he's here as much as he can be here. But I am here a lot. I'm from the restaurant and bar business. That's how I got involved. Just helping Todd out with the managing and just the daily things, you know. So as far as the politics, I didn't have a lot of knowledge in it. But like I said earlier, just stuff on the wall just educates you. And I wish, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like 20 years ago when I was in high school, I wish this is the way they teach history instead of, on the textbook. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's just more fun and interesting.
Yeah,
know?
it's always harder just trying to read from a book.
And so, I learned a lot just by that. And then all the people in the, legislators, senators, assemblymen, I'm running into all of them, speaking to them, saying hi and bye, and catering to them, and it's pretty cool.
Has anyone come in yet where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm talking to?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then next thing you know, I'm talking to this person. I don't even know who this is at first, and then I look over, I see their picture on the wall. I'm like, oh my god, did I just speak to this person? It's pretty cool. I like it.
That's awesome. By the way, if you're going to open a political themed place, I can't think of a better name than the War Room.
Right.
Listen, but you know what's fine now too? I mean, initially, if you look in the cigar place, I started out with just politics. I live, eat politics in next door. You won't find any pictures other than politics. You come here now, we're starting to get into other people because how do you tell, Antonio Brown, from all his football, Antonio Brown's, became a friend of myself and Tony and.
Yeah, you guys aren't only drawing big political names, you're drawing in other.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of people coming in from, sports. So if you look around now, we got into sports. We have sports people smoking cigars here, pictures of them too. And tonight we're doing something a little different. Somebody was telling me the other day, you're like, this is great. You see what we got here? We got a bunch of guys that's becoming that kind of like, what do you call it? This kind of like, man cave. And you know what? That really offended me. I didn't want to become McSorley's in the 60s.
Yeah.
I wanted to become, I want to become something different. I want to make it like a empowerment for women. So we're doing like the first women's cigar club in Albany. We're going to form their own club tonight. I mean, who knows? We only have one. Instead of women, it might be woman. It might be only one woman. But,
no, that's still an awesome step because naturally, if somebody hears the word cigar lounge, women probably don't come to mind.
We want to make it. Listen, if it could be all women here, who do you think is going to come?
The men.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's be honest about it. It's not a stupid idea, but either way, it doesn't matter what you. But we want to create this like women's cigar club and more of a networking where women could come here. They could talk about business. They could talk about networking. They could help each other out, like everyone helps each other out. But create that kind of empowerment for women to network and do business with each other. And create that kind of thing. So we're having tonight. I went out. It's costing me. I got a cigar roller coming in.
Oh, nice.
The guy drives up from Long Island. It takes him 2.5 hours to come in. 3 hours. 3 hours to drive back.
Oh, wow.
So he could roll cigars for 2 hours for these women. Probably a woman, whoever's coming in tonight. I hope we have women.
That's what I call a personalized experience.
And Tony got a liquor company coming in, giving out free samples, which I found out about a few hours ago. So we have they're giving out liquor samples for New Scotia liquors.
I've had those guys on the podcast.
He's a great guy.
Super nice guy.
Jamie's a good guy.
Yep.
So they're gonna come here. They're gonna give out samples. They're gonna smoke. They're gonna drink. And listen, you know what? You throw it out there. Whatever happens, happens. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I think women are women are really now. 4% of women smoke cigars in this country. 4%. It used to be half of, not half, 0.1 of 1% of women smoke cigars 15 years ago. So the fastest growing trend in cigar smoking is women. So we're going to create that kind of thing out there where it's going to become that vibe.
That's awesome.
The women cigar smoking, kind of cool. And I got to tell you, women, we've been getting texts thanking them, thanking us for doing this, and they're excited, and they're going to come out, and whatever happens. We're here to have fun.
I'm curious because I've never talked to somebody that's opened a cigar lounge. What kind of, obviously it's smoking inside. Are there special licenses and stuff you need or anything, or?
Well, we have a tobacco license here.
Okay.
That we're licensed for tobacco.
I don't know how it works. Smoke shops occasionally let you light up inside, but it isn't.
We don't allow. People have a locker here. We allow them to have. They have their own liquor in their locker. We don't stop them from bringing their own here. Mm-hmm. We don't sell it. We don't allow it. But when people want to bring it in, they have their own locker. We allow them to drink and smoke, as other places across the country do. But we strictly adhere to SLA guidances. We don't. It's a place to smoke. You need a tobacco license from the state taxation department. We have that. We file for a wholesale. Our cigars range from Patron to Fuentes to Davidoff. So we have probably some of the best cigars there are anywhere.
Wow.
And people love, the brands that we have. But we have it's not like a place. It's not a smoke shop. You can't go there and buy a cigar and leave. Mm-hmm. A waitress comes up. She brings you the cigar. You look at a menu. You decide what kind of cigar you want. And, it's kind of it's a luxury branding kind of thing, but more relaxation. And you'll see a lot of, you'll see police unions coming here. You'll see fire unions. You'll see people from all over coming here, meeting, greeting. And, there's nothing better than meeting and greeting someone or making a friend with a cigar. I mean, look what it did for Bill Clinton. Never mind. That's a bad joke.
You can't argue with that. So this was your first foray. You talked about working at a bar in college and things like this, but this was really your first foray into the restaurant business, is trying to open a restaurant and run one, right?
You know what? I bartended, like I said, I bartended when I was 17 years old. I worked at the clubs and stuff like that. I managed bars through my years. I graduated college. I used to manage the Park Bench, which was a cool, place back in the day. I worked at 2001 where Saturday Night Fever came from. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, they just did for my PR firm. We went back to Brooklyn where Saturday Night Fever was. It became a Chinese restaurant.
Really?
Imagine a Chinese restaurant. Disco 2000, a club would start it all. The phrase, the dances, the moves, everything became a Chinese restaurant. I mean, they have ducks hanging on the wall, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
So we did the 40th anniversary of Saturday Night Fever. And we had all these people coming down dressed in polyester suits and, and those tight, shirts and, the bell bottoms and the shoes, and they had Lenny's Pizza, the triple decker pizza there. They're strutting down the thing. The only problem is time caught up to a lot of these people. If you ever saw Shallow Hal.
Oh wow, yeah.
Where they have these beer goggles what people look like. Mm-hmm. These people do not look like they do from 1970, 1977 or 1978.
That tends to happen.
These people changed, and like everyone else, like I've changed too. But the people that had the best shape, best hair, no more.
So, having that experience, but how much also your huge background in PR, how has that helped to really kind of get the word out about this place?
We are the hottest.
Because I've seen articles from local news outlets. You've had mentions in like Page 6.
We were on Page 6 4 or 5 times already.
Stuff down in the city and everything.
The New York Post did a whole page on us.
Yeah.
New York Post, you have to kill somebody in Albany. And I don't think if you kill anybody, it doesn't even get paid. Nobody even reports about that anymore. I mean, but there's such a trend, what we try to do by bringing Albany back, by creating this kind of thing. You look around. I see a guy driving a bicycle outside. I'm looking at the convention center. Mm-hmm. I see, people walking around and nothing's in session right now. So people, there is like a thirsty. It's thirsty here. It's thirsty not for liquor. It's thirsty for entertainment. It's thirsty for things going on downtown. Downtown is becoming hot. And our place has become this hot place. And we've been written about all over the country about what we're doing here. And people are becoming like us. We have the only bar restaurant walking distance from the Capitol, like less than 100 feet. We're the closest bar to anywhere to here and the governor's mansion. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the governor's going to walk in the middle of the night go and sleep and walking looking for a beer. But we are the closest thing to it. We're the closest to the convention center. There is no bar close to the convention center.
Oh, we're looking right out the window.
Right outside. Close to the Renaissance, which is like a 5-star hotel. Closest to the Hilton. Mm-hmm. So if you're coming here, you're staying here, we get pilots coming here, from United Airlines. Every Sunday night they come here, they stay at the Renaissance, and the whole United staff comes here to they come here to get drinks and to eat, and they love the experience. They come back and they recommend all the other ones. I just hope it doesn't turn into that movie. What was that movie where the pilot starts drinking and hanging out? Then he goes out. With Denzel Washington. Well, I hope, I just hope we're not contributing to any accidents by what we do here at night.
You occasionally see the video jokes of a pilot walking through the airport pretending to be blind every once in a while. Have you seen one of those? Those are always fun. And people look at that. It's
wild. But you know what? We get a lot of cool people coming. You know what I like? I think what Tony likes, and I'll tell you in a second, is that we don't get the typical customer. Mm-hmm. We're not getting people from East Greenbush, or we're not getting people from Schenectady or Nova Scotia or Scotia, whatever it's called. No. I'm not from here, and I apologize.
A little farther. It's a little farther.
I know. Maybe I have I have my locks or something. Tobago, what the hell. But the bottom line is we're getting people from all over the world that are staying at the hotels here, that are coming to the conventions. So they're coming here. So our people get to meet people from all over. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool to meet people from all over. It's kind of cool to meet, like people from the New York Knicks, from the NCAA, or meeting Bill Murray, or meeting those kind of people that will come into the place because they're here. And we have a monopoly. There's nowhere really to walk to as close as we are here. And I think people love that. People love coming here because they can walk here. They can't drive here. And we're going to tell you something right now. We're going to break the news. This is breaking news.
All right.
Breaking news. We have parking now.
Oh, wow.
We have parking.
That's big in Albany.
This is like the biggest thing, whatever. I mean, forget about stop the press, like Batman. Stop the press.
Wow.
We have parking. If you go down the block, right across from the beer hall, there's the State Troopers PBA.
Yep.
Has a parking lot. We're going to be having parking on weekends and probably valet parking. So we're going to have parking. So people will be able to come here from East Greenbush or, wherever, Nova Scotia or wherever they're coming from.
Valet parking in Albany is like finding a unicorn.
Well, I hope they come here because,
it's funny. You just reminded me. So I used to work at a law firm in Albany briefly on the other side of the park, on the other side of the Capitol there. And the best thing about the job, when I told people I worked there, was it's literally indoor valet parking. Like I just pull into the garage, they take my car. Yeah. And I worked there in the winter, so it was fantastic.
Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of law firms. There's a lot of judges. There's a lot of courts here. We get every people come. We have a lot of judges coming in here.
I've met a couple of judges
here. We met the Court of Appeals judges coming here. We get a lot of. In fact, the Court of Appeals judge that just got nominated to be the Chief Justice, or the one who's going to be running it, has been here before. Has been to the War Room.
Oh wow!
So we're getting a lot of the courts, because Albany has a lot of courts, a lot of government buildings. A lot of people from the county come here. A lot of people come here from the city officials, county officials, state officials. We've had congressmen. We've had many congressmen come here. It's kind of cool. They don't like the place. They love this place.
That's awesome. We talked about a lot of the memorabilia and stuff. Do you guys have like a favorite item in here? Between the cigar lounge and the bar?
You know what? I do. I have Bill Clinton's humidor.
Really?
So what happened was in the cigar place, Bill Clinton used to give out if you gave enough money to the Democratic National Committee, the president would give you a humidor, like a little humidor with the presidential seal on it.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I'll show it to you when we're done.
Yeah.
Then the Monica Lewinsky thing came out. He stopped giving out humidors, and that's not a joke. It's a true statement.
Wow.
So we have presidential seal little humidors that are really cool with glass with the seal of the president, and they used to give out, full of cigars and stuff like that. And because Bill Clinton was a big cigar smoker, and so was a lot of other presidents and stuff like that. They would smoke cigars and stuff like that and come here as well. We also have Andrew Cuomo's cigar locker. When he
cool.
When he was governor, he used to go to a place called the Grand Havana Room, and the day they closed down because they moved, so they took everyone. So I'm gonna come clean on you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I stole his cigar locker.
Ain't nothing they can do now.
Well, he knows. He knows now. Like so I'm okay. I didn't go to jail or nothing like that. But but I have Andrew Cuomo's, Governor Cuomo's cigar locker. The head from the cigar locker has his name on it, and his girlfriend at the time bought it for him, and it was kind of controversial to him. She wasn't allowed to buy it from him, so then he stopped coming there. But it was very famous, that cigar locker, and we have it here for people to see. And we also have a lot of other historical stuff.
What about you, Tony? Anything in particular?
Probably the bowl. It's the most signature thing in a restaurant, where a lot of people take pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I like that the best.
That's awesome. So you come up in the restaurant business, is that you correct?
Yes.
And stuff? So have you always been in Albany? Were you local? I don't recall.
Yeah. Some I was born in Queens, but I was raised up here. My family
nice.
moved up here when I was very young. They just thought it'd be a lot better to raise a family. I'm one of 7. So I was involved in the restaurant business at a very, very young age, growing up watching my family doing what they were doing. And then I just started becoming so attached to it. I wanted to start doing my own thing. So that's where the restaurants, the bars, and clubs, they all came in place. And I was either owning or operating them for one of my family members. So that's where the experience and expertise came from me. And then I ran into Todd, and I've been here since, just helping out. It's been we came a long ways, because we opened up and it was just a lot of attraction and attention, and we had to create an operation system, and it's finally becoming a little bit at ease and just comfortable.
Yeah, because you guys have only been open since January.
Just a couple months, honestly, not a long time.
And has it been pretty packed since you guys have opened?
Yeah, it has. It's been pretty busy, high volume.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's great
and
to
then
hear.
We had, between, just like Todd said, the customers we get, they're very just wide range because we're just such in a great location. So there's always events going on here where people are traveling from not just from other parts of the city in New York, but just from other states. We had the wrestling tournament. Everyone from New York State were coming from here for here. We had the March Madness. I've met customers that traveled from San Francisco to Albany to watch some of these games.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's just we had the Brewers Association just last week. So everyone from the whole New York State, from all over, were participating in the Brewers Association. So, we're running into and meeting a lot of people just from all over the place.
That's awesome.
It's pretty great. Yeah, I like that a lot.
So, future of the War Room. I know it's only been a few months, but what are your hopes for this place?
We hope, listen, I mean, I don't want to jinx it because, we got something really good here. I mean, if you talk about dreams and stuff at the War Room, we love to open up in every capital across the country and be in Sacramento or Newark or every, Kansas City, Missouri, or all different capitals throughout the country, like Albany. I was in, last week, I had a press conference with a client in Austin, Texas, which is the capital of Texas.
Yep.
They have a place called the Cloak Room. Now, the Cloak Room is very similar to the War Room, where they have pictures of, for the last 50 years, of all the people that have gone there. And I mean, it's kind of a cool, and it's right across the street from the Capitol. They even say that there's a tunnel that goes to the governor's mansion. The governor used to come in and drink and go back and forth. So it's like, you know, I think we're like the Planet Hollywood of politics, where people look, rather than, you know, if you went to Planet Hollywood, you'll see Brad Pitt, or you'll see Stallone, or you'll see, you know, Schwarzenegger, or whatever it is.
Yep.
You'll see all these pictures of people, and like, you know, you'll see a picture of like Rocky's, you know, robe from when he fought in the, you know, Stallone's, you know, whatever. Here you're finding the kind of memorabilia of politicians, of governors, and because these people here, they're celebrities. They're different kind of celebrities. These people look up for them. They follow them. Their livelihood depends on it. If you're a lobbyist, you know, you gotta work with the parties, or they worked on presidential campaigns, and this is stuff that they worship, and that's their demigods, and, you know, may even be their nightmares too. But it's become that kind of thing, and we have, you know, the good, the bad, and ugly. If a politician got in trouble with stuff, you know, we have still stuff up here, you know, but we're not looking to glorify amongst the, you know, the misery of negativity. And we're very careful that way, where someone once came to me and I sat down with someone, they're like, we're doing it like a museum dedicated to all you know, the scandals of Albany. I go, well, count me out. I mean, because a lot of good people worked for some of these people and dedicated their lives to try to make it better. Yeah. And I'm not looking to hurt someone's name or image. I'm trying to make people feel good. We're here to make something happy and fun, and create a good, and bring back memories. So someone here like me, who's, you know, 58 years old, you know, looking at on a wall and saying, you know what, I grew up watching this person. I grew up, you know, I grew up working for this person when I was in college, or I remember, you know, some of the stuff they did or whatever it is. And, you know, it's hard to think it was, you know, 27 years ago for some of these people, you know, and people aren't even 27 now to come here. They'll be like 2 years old when it happened. But for me, there's also older people that have come here that have been here for years and years, that it's older. So to them, it's like they'll look at Rockefeller. Now, I was probably 2 years old when Rockefeller was here. So to me, it's too old. But there's people that worked for Rockefeller, that knew Rockefeller, or spent their lives around Rockefeller, or when he ran for president. If you look up that picture right there, you see the Rockefeller. It's a very famous photo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and what is Rockefeller doing?
Flipping off someone.
He's giving the bird. Rockefeller's basically giving you FU to somebody. So what happened was, if you look at the picture, Rockefeller was vice president of the United States. Okay? For Gerald Ford, who was president after, you know, after Richard Nixon, because there was a scandal. Yep. So Gerald Ford winded up not picking Rockefeller. He chose Rockefeller to be vice president, but when he was running for office, he chose Bob Dole, who was a very popular senator at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So if you see the picture, you see Bob Dole. He's in the background there. That was in Cortland, I think, or some upstate college. And Rockefeller took Dole around to run for vice president around the state of New York. When he went there, one of the college groups or whatever, you know, college people could be a little, you know, they're not afraid to say what they feel.
They are not.
So what happened was, these college kids, so students, right, said, "Hey, Rockefeller, fuck you," and they gave him the finger. So Rockefeller did what any other billionaire, or at that time millionaire, there were no billionaires.
Properly respond.
He gave them a finger back. And then they always said, "Rockefeller, did you apologize?" He said, "No way. Why am I apologizing?"
I wouldn't.
And that was like a famous salute that Rockefeller gave on the college campus.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome portrait right there.
You know, it's kind of cool, right?
So one last question to wrap things up. Did I read that at one point you're trying to pitch a TV show?
You know, Bravo is coming up. If not Bravo, HBO. There's a person that handles all these different TV shows. And they've been pitching us wanting to do this show and stuff like that. The problem is, I like to give people their own privacy. People don't want to come here, get drunk, get hammered, get sloshed, and all of a sudden wind up on the news the next day. No. Especially elected officials. So
Probably at the top of the list, yeah.
So anyway, they have to sign a waiver anyway because I produce some shows on some of the networks and stuff.
Oh, really?
So and I've worked with a lot of the cast members and some of the housewives and some of the other things that exist.
Oh, wow.
So it's a negotiation. We'll probably do a pilot or a sizzle wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Sizzle reel, sizzle reel. If it happens, I really don't care either way. Some of my predecessors in PR, Lizzie Grudman, had a reality show. She wound up losing half a business afterwards.
Oh, geez.
One thing you got to do in PR, never get more famous than your client. Because if your client's paying you to get famous and you're on TV more than they are,
probably not good.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So that, that case, we're in negotiation. We'll see what happens. But, more important, I got to tell you something. The day I stop having fun is the day that we're not going to be around anymore. Or at least I won't be around anymore. This is all about having fun. This
That's
place
awesome.
is about, if you open up a bar, you got to make it fun. You got to make some sort of atmosphere where people come here and they can enjoy themselves and just have have a blast. I'm having a blast every time I'm here. My wife comes here. She's singing karaoke on Tuesday nights. We try to sing, together. It was the worst experience of our lives. We were singing "I Got You, Babe" by Sonny and Cher, and I think half the place left, including my wife. No, I'm just kidding. So let me put Tony on clip. By the way, I just want to thank you for doing this show. I know you do this out of the kindness of your heart, and you do this because you love bars, or you love music, or you love stuff. And the podcast you're doing is really, it's God sent. It's really giving people the opportunity. Bars are not movie stars. Bars are not celebrities. Bars are regular people trying to make people happy. And by you doing this podcast, you're making a lot of people happy. And I salute you, I commend you, and I thank you for what you do.
Hey, I, more than anything, appreciate you even taking the time to chat. I love the Albany area, the Schenectady area, too. I love going to these places, so I enjoy doing this. It's like a win-win for me. I get to help promote these businesses and stuff, and I also enjoy going to them, so...
Well, I hope you'll be as happy when you try our food. Let me put Tony on for closing comments, and thank you again. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. It's my first podcast. Todd, thank you for having me on with you. And just one last thing, we're the largest happy hour, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. Check us out.
You guys are open every day, too.
We are 7 days a week, but our happy hour is really awesome. And just like he said, it's a great vibe. It's a fun vibe. It's a great atmosphere. So check out our happy hour, 3 to 6.
Yeah, I'm definitely sticking around for another beer or two. So
Awesome.
I'm looking forward. So that's a wrap on another successful edition of Stories from a Bar. Thank you, Todd and Tony, for taking the time to hang out. I really appreciate it. It's been fun having a beer here, some actually Frog Alley Mohawk, which is delicious, and chatting. If you're not doing it already, be sure to go like and follow all the social media pages for the Albany War Room and Todd's Backroom Cigar Lounge to keep tabs on everything going on. A huge thank you to everyone out there for checking out the show. You can follow Stories from a Bar on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at StoriesFAB to keep up with everything happening and what's coming up. You'll find Stories from a Bar on all major podcast platforms, so be sure to like, subscribe, and even more importantly, leave fantastic reviews and share the hell out of it. So until next time, cheers, people.